we're jumping into the 18th century in 1750 tonight, and we're jumping into the middle of one of the biggest intellectual transformations ever in all of Western civilization's history. This is one of the biggest changes. It would be parallel to, let's say, 1550, which is Copernicus. But as most of you know, nobody paid any attention to Copernicus in 1550. It was 50, 60, 70 years before other people like Galileo started showing everybody that Copernicus was right, and then people started to go through the transformation and begin to believe that the Earth was not the center of the universe. So this transition in 1750 is the one in which the age of reason, the age of science, is now challenged by Rousseau and his fellow Romantics. The movement that comes out of this is Romanticism, and that's the right word to use for it. The Romantic movement, the movement as in an international intellectual movement of books and ideas and writings and paintings and music and everything, all of it part of that moment. So we're jumping into 750. France is the center, and you all know that France in 1750 is the home of the Enlightenment. We all know something about the Enlightenment. We know that term is used all the time. It's a very popular term right now because various writers in our own society have said we're starting to lose the values of the Enlightenment and that we need to go back to them. We need to reclaim the values of the Enlightenment. The three people that I've put up here, one, Voltaire, we talked about last week. So many of you remember the basic ideas of Voltaire. He is a believer in science, in reason, the primacy of reason. And on the right, the other man, Diderot, Denis Diderot, is a friend of Rousseau, best friend of Rousseau, and the editor of the Encyclopedia. So if we think of 1750-51, the Encyclopedia is the perfect embodiment of the Enlightenment. The idea of the Encyclopedia is we will gather together all the knowledge of the world and we will put it all in these multi-volume books, and then we will print them, and then everybody will buy them, and everybody will have them in their homes, and everybody will study the Encyclopedia, and everybody will be smart, and so then all these smart people will now know what to do in the world, and everything they do will be better than it ever was before because they'll know all these good things, and so the world will be better than it's ever been before. And out of that comes the Enlightenment. And there we have the Enlightenment, the age of reason. That's the story as of 1750. There are the Enlightenment ideals, not ones that every single writer accepted, but most. Number one, human freedom, basically, is what number one means. Number two, the importance of reason. Everybody agreed on that. Number three, everybody can participate. We all have reason. The result is progress, a key idea of the Enlightenment. The idea of separation, church and state, that's an idea that works better that way. 6, economics, capitalism, free markets. 7, free government, elections, etc. Now tonight, what we want to talk about is the challenge to all of that, and those three are the perfect three to mirror that moment in 1750, the challenge. And in their story, in the three men, and in their lives, as you can see, Voltaire is the oldest of the three. Diderot and Rousseau are almost exact contemporaries. They are encountering the clockwork universe. It's a wonderful phrase, and it's a wonderful book. That's actually a title of a book, The Clockwork Universe, Edward Dolnick. It's a wonderful book. Because what he explains is that by 1750, the Enlightenment had created a kind of image of the universe like a giant clock. And the theories behind it were God made everything like a giant clock, wound it up, and then let it go. He's gone off to a Florida retirement home, and the universe will just tick, tick, tick on forever because it was so well designed. So that's the clockwork universe. And it's the clockwork universe against which, I think it's fair to say, Rousseau will rebel. So if you want some general idea of what it is he's against, well, that's it, the clockwork universe. Now, part of the clockwork universe you all know about, we talked last week, was science and free governments, free parliaments, free press, free speech, and all of this is summed up in the Royal Society. So all of you know, Royal Society founded in England, 1660. They had members of the society. They had meetings of the society, just like our meeting here tonight. They delivered papers, and then you publish the papers, and then you print them all in a journal, Transactions of the Royal Society, still in existence, been going ever since 1660, in the language of English, and everybody talks about it. So that's science. That's how it worked. That's the idea. And of course, by 1750, science and the Royal Society is 100 years old, so it's well advanced. What are some of the things that have been established by modern science, and some of them in the Royal Society? Well, you can see Galileo, of course, is going to go out with his telescope. Gilbert is going to explain the magnetic properties of the Earth. There'll be the invention of the telescope. Kepler will be out looking at the planets and publishing where they all are. Galileo publishes his Starry Messenger. Francis Bacon publishes a whole new theory of science of how it works. Harvey publishes a book to explain blood. This is a dramatic moment if you think about it. Here it is in 1628, after 2,500 years of medicine and ideas and theories, suddenly this man explains to everybody how blood works. And then in 1660, Royal Society, Robert Boyle explains chemical elements, gives them the whole set of chemical elements, and microscope. Leeuwenhoek invents the microscope. And then Isaac Newton writes his spectacular Principia, which explains the whole universe. So all of that is what is being created in this international cooperative exercise called modern science. And the modern society, the Royal Society in London is the best example of how it works. And so in 1750, along comes Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and upsets the apple cart, upsets the clockwork universe, upsets everything, upsets everybody. And first I'll tell you a little bit about who he was, and then we'll tell you exactly what it was he wrote and said that got everybody upset. He writes an important work that becomes famous in exactly 1750. So all of our chronology here is nice and easy to remember. 1650, 1750.